You can really scatter ashes pretty much anywhere as long as there's no law expressly prohibiting it. So any crown land, any park, any public place, you can scatter ashes as long as there's no bylaw, maybe municipal bylaw prohibiting it. And you can scatter on any private property you wish as long as the owner's okay with it. There's a little bit of a catch with that. If someone's charging you money to scatter and they do it repeatedly, like they've set aside land for scattering and they charge money, they need to be licensed to do that. But if it's a one-off situation and you like a nice spot and you know who the owner is and you want to scatter a loved one's ashes, that's no problem. Go ahead and do it. A common thing is to always scatter on water. That's what people like to do. You can always scatter on any crown land, including crown land covered by water. So for instance, right behind me, perfect spot. This is Mimico Park. You can scatter your ashes in there, your loved one's ashes. Where does it cause difficulty? And this is what leads to some of the sometimes bylaws, is it's not about the scattering of the ashes. It's sometimes people leave tributes behind, flowers, memorials, keepsakes, even food. And that's what can upset certain people, is when all that material is left behind, especially if a certain area is popular for scattering and then everybody starts doing that. You can imagine that causes complications. But the scatter on water, easy thing. Do you need special permission? No. Water over crown land, just scatter away. If you're not going to leave things behind, that's perfect. Just go ahead and do it. Can you charter a boat and go out into Lake Ontario and scatter? Absolutely, you can. So scattering ashes is really a simple way to deal with your loved one's remains. You could scatter ashes in your own backyard, in your own garden, a family member's or a friend's backyard. Any place that someone will allow you to scatter ashes, that's completely okay. Here's the catch though, you can't bury ashes. So we get that question quite a bit, and it happens, we find this out. Unfortunately, sometimes people have buried their father's ashes at the cottage because it was a favorite spot that he loved. It's in their family, or bury ashes in an urn or a hollowed out rock in the backyard somewhere. You can't do that. You can only bury ashes, just like any human remains. You can only bury them in a licensed cemetery. Now you'd wonder, so why? What's the problem? Problem is, your cottage isn't going to be in your family's possession forever. Neither is your home, neither is your backyard, or for any property. It's likely not going to be in your family's possession forever. That leaves the next property owner to discover them, unfortunately, to happen upon them. And they may do some excavating or some gardening or work and find an urn there, or container containing ashes, and that ends up, they'll call the police, they'll call the bereavement authority. It ends up putting in all sorts of complications that you don't want to have.